around the country on Saturday as they see a Red Raider defense flying and swarming to the ball.
When you look back at the tape, do you see fewer missed tackles this year? It just seems like you guys are.
That's something. I'm glad you brought that up. That's something that's been a huge thing for us internally since we've taken this job. It's been something that we've talked about is reducing the missed tackles, the yards after contact. And each year it's gone down and down, and I think we're becoming a better tackling team. We drill that. We coach the technique. We're pretty I think our coaches are pretty persistent on that, and they do a good job, and our players take to it. And that's something in a game like this that will be pretty prevalent, I think, as at the end of the game, and you'll look back and say they tackled well in space, or they didn't, because that usually ends up being chunk yards, and a lot of explosives come off of. Well, first of all, the number one thing that causes explosives is usually missed assignment or missed alignment, and then a missed tackle.
Back to the quarterback position, specifically Thompson. If you look at what he's done, even going back to last year, usually when he's in there, they score touchdowns. What's made him so special early on in his career?
Well, give credit where credit's due. I think that's an interesting stat, and certainly I've gone back and looked since the Alamo Bowl and watched all of his series since he's played in the last 3 games plus the Alamo Bowl, and it's a very, very high percentage of scores, and a lot of those are touchdowns. So I think that's the number one thing of playing quarterback, is to make the other 10 guys around you that much better. And so my guess is that, whether it's his play or in the huddle or his demeanor, he inspires his teammates. Number 5 had a big reason to do with a lot of those touchdowns too, as I went back and looked. Especially the first play he got in at the Alamo Bowl, and it went a long ways.
This being you guys' 4th game, and of course the first conference game of the season, is this going to be a good benchmark for you guys to see where you really are right now?
Yeah, I think every week's a benchmark, because y'all are going to evaluate us and we're going to evaluate us, and then we're going to see what we did well and try to expand on it, and we're going to see where we struggled, and we're going to try to fix it. So every week's a benchmark. It doesn't just need to be a Big 12 game for us to evaluate us pretty good internally. Certainly not for you guys either. You're going to evaluate us every week.
And then for you,
as you should,
this being your 3rd year facing against Texas, and I believe Tech is 0-3 in the last 3 games against Texas. What would a win this Saturday mean for you in this rivalry specifically?
Oh, it would be a big win. There's no question about that. There's a lot of particular feelings around Lubbock and West Texas, I think, in terms of this game, and so it's big for our fans. It's big in this complex. And, I know we have a belief in ourselves inside in this complex, and more than anybody else, on the outside of it, we believe in ourselves.
And then obviously with everything going on this offseason, and, Texas and Oklahoma sort of shifting over to SEC in a couple of years, does that add any more weight to this game when you guys play against them?
Only for y'all. It's the first time I've thought about it in 3 days.
We talked a lot about defense versus their offense and their running game, but what about, how do you feel like the offensive line has improved here and then going against their defensive front? Again,
Jared, another good benchmark for our guys. This will be the best front that we've faced so far this year. And you got Overshone and Brockmeyer that are 2 good inside linebackers, very good and athletic, and these guys are athletic. So, again, it'll be imperative to obviously run the ball on the road. I think you got to run the ball to win on the road in this league, as well as protecting Tyler. So it'll be a big challenge for us this week.
Matt, TCU has had a lot of success against Texas over the last several years. You have obviously one of TCU's former top assistants. Of what value is that in your preparation this week?
Yeah, I think the biggest value, Don, is just, he's played against Texas for quite a while, whether it was here as an assistant at Tech or at TCU. So he's had a lot of years against those guys, and I think just You got player knowledge from recruiting and competition, but you have two brand new schemes, from Pete on defense, who we've gone, we played against him back out at Utah State a couple times, at Boise and at UW. And then Sark on offense. You got two brand new schemes, as well as Jeff Banks on special teams. So you got three brand new schemes. So a whole lot of your conference knowledge, I think it's more player driven, maybe personnel driven, not schematic driven in a game like this.
Following up on a couple other topics broached earlier on your run defense, and you said you attribute a lot of your success to getting hats to the ball, tackling well. Has your approach to tackling in practice been? Is it about like it was when you began here, or in terms of being physical and how much time you spend on tackling? Is it about the same, or has it changed? And how physical would you say your practices are now compared to at other stages of your coaching career? Considering a lot of coaches it seems like the game is practices are less physical these days to keep guys fresh and ready for the week, ready for Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah. Okay. So you asked let me get all of those questions in there. You knew Dowdy was only going to give you a couple more, and that's a veteran move right there. Don Williams, veteran. Okay. Come on, Matt. Be a veteran head coach right now. Remember all the questions. Okay. Okay. So tackling. Very similar. We have not changed in terms of our tackling and the methods and the practice techniques and how often we practice it in the last couple years. That varies between spring ball, training camp, and in season, but we have not varied much from that. Our practices are, I would say, pretty decently physical for in season, but I do think we do a great job of monitoring our guys and resting them appropriately, knowing how much they've run coming off of a game. Tuesday workload to Wednesday's workload. Sometimes individuals will back some individuals down on Wednesday if the workload for them was pretty high on Tuesday. Coach Scholes and I are very in tune to that, our strength coach. So, I think the key is to get them fresh, get them to the game, get them to the fight, if you will. And I think our players would tell you that we do a good job of that. But yet this is a physical football game, and you got to practice physical. And so I think the right amount is always the key.
And one other, with Texas leaving to the SEC at some point soon, Kirby has said he would like to and expects to continue playing Texas on an annual basis long term. What is your thought on whether
be great
you would prefer that or not?
Be great for Lubbock. Be great for to have them here in the stadium, and for all the businesses in Lubbock and the everything like that. The old rivalries, Southwest Conference, Big 12, all that. I'd be for it.
Coach, earlier you mentioned how you guys have been working on finishing for a while, and obviously the Texas game last year does come to mind, like you mentioned earlier. Why do you think this year's team is built to finish better than the first couple that you had?
Well, I'd probably refer to the first two games. We found a way to come back and finish and finish at the end. I think we're more experienced in those games. We've certainly practiced those situations a whole lot more in terms of situation mastery and putting our players in those positions and practice as best we can to give them confidence in games. And we've won more close games at the end of last year and the beginning of this year than we certainly did our first year. So the more you're in, the more you're going to gain confidence.
And obviously Robinson, big part of their offense. Everyone talks about him, but the passing game, losing Ellinger, not having as many, at least, names that the average person would know at wide receiver. Where do you see their passing game this year, as far as it being a strength for them or something you guys feel like you can exploit?
No, 6 and 8 are really good receivers. They're good. They can go up in high point. They're fast. They've got length. They're good red zone targets. I think 4 is a stud. You see him show up all over special teams. He blocks. He's physical. My guess is he's pretty fun to coach. That'd be my guess just watching tape. All three of those guys are good.
How important is the stat of time of possession to you and your staff, and how much do you think it'll factor in this weekend?
It's only something that's really important if you have the lead in the last 4 minutes of the game. I mean, time of possession compared to points scored, I'll take points scored. I think you got to have quality possessions. I certainly don't think you need to possess the ball. We're going to play fast and we're going to play with tempo, and so is a lot of other teams in this league. It's certainly what you do at the end of the possession, scoring. I think our last year at Utah State, we were dead last in the league and first in points, and it's what you do at the end of the drive. How good are you in the red zone, finishing, those kind of things. But I think certainly the value of possessing the ball with the lead and being able to run the ball are important factors.
Don asked you this last week, but how do you feel your team kind of played against Devontae Price? I know certainly a different player than Robinson, but you have a lot of good backs that you're going to be going up against the next couple of weeks. How do you feel that prepared you all going into this week?
Well, I think he's a good back. I really do. I think we played very well against him. He was a focal point for us last week, and I think he compares to a lot of the backs in this league. I certainly I stand by my statement. I think Five's one of the best in the country, and I think he's legit.
In terms of what you all have to do on a road trip, do you kind of feel like that's a different feel for you, or do you kind of feel like Houston already kind of prepared you all for that, or I guess is there a different feel when it's a Big 12 game going on the road?
Oh, I think there's a different feel for the Big 12 game, but the first game was I think a good road test in terms of all the stuff that you got to do away from Lubbock. But we're taking a veteran football team into Austin. I've got a lot of guys that sit on these first two rows in this room that have played a lot of football. There's a half a dozen, 8 of them that are wearing the Texas Tech logo for only the 4th time in their career, but they've played upwards of 20 to 40 some games. And when you take that experience on the road, it's not their first road game either. They've played in some big stadiums and big moments.
Unless we have any other question for Coach, we'll come back to the players. All right, thanks, Coach.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Right here in the front.
Rico, what'd you feel y'all learned from playing against a running back like Devon Price especially with the next couple of weeks, you got some really good running backs you're going to have to go against, including Bijan this week?
I mean, he was a very talented running back. I like to run downhill, but our main focus on defense is destroying the line of scrimmage and making teams one-dimensional. We've been pretty successful in that, and we plan on doing it again this week.
What do you feel y'all have been doing this year that's allowed your defensive line or even just your run defense to improve that much more from last year?
Just preparation, film study together, and just communication. We've got our communication down really nice, and we can make field adjustments very, very easily.
When you kind of watch Texas on film, what stands out to you as a defender?
I mean, they're a talented group. They play hard. They have a very talented running back, as everybody knows. We know they're going to come ready to play, and so will we.
Rico, you've been a part of those Texas Tech teams that seemed like every 2 to 6 point game wasn't going in your favor. Now, as a team that's been finishing in those types of games, what's different?
I think it's just the team camaraderie. We're a pretty tight-knit group, and we have a focus on winning and making ourselves better every week.
For you, Matt talked about, and just in general, there's been all the talk about less missed tackles. Where have you seen this defensive unit grow in that area?
I mean, we've grown tremendously. When KP first got here, it was a lot of yak yards, yards after contact. So we focused a lot on that, tracking the near hip and running through ball carriers. And what we've been practicing, it works out on game day. You see that our yards per carry are really, really low right now, and yak yards are extremely low as well.
Hey, Rico, you played a lot of football at this point, played against a lot of good players. There's a lot of talk about how good Robinson is. Who are some of the best offensive players you've played in your career here at Tech?
There's been a lot of talented guys. The Big 12 is a very talented conference. One running back that really standed out to me was David Montgomery, one from Iowa State. Brees Hall is also another very talented running back. And then there's also been very talented quarterbacks as well, like Kyler Murray, Will Guerrero. So there's a lot of guys that have came through this conference that are really top-notch players, and that's why you see them on the next level.
A lot of veteran players, obviously a linebacker we talked about a lot, but y'all have been together now for, over a calendar year. What do y'all do off the field, away from the facility, to kind of bond and just kind of get closer and all that?
We hang out, play video games, go out together, try to have little linebacker dinners. Thursdays we watch film together in the meeting room after practice. So we just try to hang out with each other, just become family. And that's what we've become.
What is the game prep? How does it change for you as opposed to being home or away? Does it change at all for you?
No, not really. Our main focus is us, and we try to be consistent in everything that we do. So nothing really changes. It's just it's the most important game because it's the next game. So that's how it is every week.
Obviously, every game has that importance, but the in-state rival, Texas, all that goes into it. What does that mean for a bunch of people who haven't played in a game like that?
Honestly, I feel like it's really kind of good that a lot of players haven't played in that game before, because it's bigger to other people outside of this facility, but to us, it's about us. The only team that has hurt us this season has been us. The only way teams have scored on us has been because of miscommunication or misassignment. So our focus is on us because we think that we're the only team that can beat us.
Rico, I believe you were a freshman the last time Texas Tech beat Texas. This year being your senior year, what would it mean to get a win against the Longhorns?
It'd be very important, for me, a very special thing. As you said, the last time we beat Texas was 2017, and then especially with last year, that 15-point lead, not finishing the game out. So it would be extremely important for me to, finish off my college career with a win against every team in the Big 12, honestly.
And this being you guys' first conference game, but obviously the fourth game on the season, is this sort of a good benchmark for you guys, going through those first couple games, but facing sort of a more legit D1 program, and obviously seeing where this team really is right now?
Yeah, most definitely. I feel like after Saturday, it'll be a very good and encouragement boost for our team, letting us know, that we're for real. And, I mean, we already know that, but, it'll be a confirmation for some of those guys who are on the edge.
Rico, as an older guy on the team, do you sort of encourage your younger teammates to, go into this game with a little extra since it is Texas, you had the close game? Or is it more of just taking every game one at a time kind of approach?
Yeah, it's an important game because, it's important to the fans and to our, student base and, our community. But it's as important as any other game. It's the most important game because it's the next one.
And then going against a school like Texas that obviously recruits well, going against a good offensive line, what's going to be key for you guys going against such a talented offensive line to keep up what you've been doing against the run?
Just our communication, our preparation throughout this week. Coach Wells always harps to us how you win the game through Monday through Friday, and that's what we firmly believe in. You win your games by preparing well for your opponent.
How was the extra depth and rotation of linebacker helped you personally?
I think it's great. Guys stay fresh. You don't really get tired because there's no downfall in talent when you come off the field. And we all get reps at every position, so we all know every position in that linebacker room. So I think we're a very versatile group and very older, so we have all that game knowledge.
You just played a couple night games. Now you have 11 a.m. game. Do you have a preference of what time you play?
No, it doesn't matter to me as long as we win.
Any final questions?
Rico, you mentioned a moment ago that your linebackers, y'all got together after practice. I think you said you watched film like on Thursday night after practice, and I was curious because Coach Patterson has always talked about how you're so vocal on the field, and having you out there is like having another coach out there because he said you're smartest linebacker he's ever had. When you're watching film away from the coaches, like with a group of linebackers, are you as vocal there as you are on the field?
Well, I mean, it's not really, telling people what to do. I mean, it's kind of trying to give them some of the knowledge that I've gained from the past few years. Just basically doing what the other older guys did for me, just giving them some things, some tips that I know of, and, just understanding how to break down film. I've been around KP, and he's taught me that. So it's just trying to teach those guys and, get them to understand so we can all be on the same wavelength.
Yeah. So I was curious, after the game Saturday night, since y'all won pretty easily, we're kind of talking in a lighthearted way about your push-ups after you had a shot at the interception, and Matt said that you should probably do those on Sunday and get off the field. What did y'all decide on Sunday?
Well, I mean, I actually finished those push-ups. I actually got 10 more in because I heard I only did 9, so I did 10 more, but. It's all good. I mean, I had an opportunity to make a play on the ball. I didn't make it. So, we really harp on getting those turnovers. So I did my push-ups. Next time, I'm going to make that play.
Do you feel like it's important to set an example there in the moment, regardless of the situation?
I mean, it's just something that we preach on in practice. So every drop, interception that we have in practice, we do push-ups. I just ended up doing it in the game.
Thank you, Rico.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Rico.
Watch what you do, watch what you say around Don. You ratted them out after the game. You had to do more push-ups. You should do 10 push-ups with me. Let's go. John Williams and Rico. Senior sports writers. Push-ups.
Well, that helps, huh? I know.
Rico got push-ups.
You should do like 30. I don't want to do it.
This is very interesting. So
And then saying that would be like,
Maybe it adds up.
I also never understood.
I said it kind of push it out. That's the 17th drop of the game. It does get kind of. The 17th time. You did your push-ups
Stretching your arms. 500 push-ups in the game. Maybe that's why you can't. Maybe that's why you can't catch the ball. He's done put 500 push-ups. His arms are coming in.
Then maybe he should be in the game, coach.
All right, we're set. Who has the first question? You want to kick us off?
Eric, obviously, you're probably a guy who likes to get targets, but in a game like Saturday, how happy were you to see some of those other guys step up?
It was good to see that, even though the defense was keying in on me, other guys were able to step up and make big plays.
What do you think of that Trey Cleveland catch in the back of the end zone?
Is that
something he's been showing off in practice a little bit?
Yeah, Trey Cleveland's always making big catches in practice, and it was good to see that he was able to make it in the game. And he's my roommate prior to the game in the hotel room, so we're always having conversations about things like that, and it was good to see him do what he did.
For you, obviously, as a guy who's played in a couple of these Texas games before, why is this game so important? Why does it have so much meaning to you guys?
Texas is our rival overall, I feel like, and it's going to be awesome to go into Austin and give them a fight and smack them in the mouth a little bit. And obviously we're 3-0 right now, so we have a lot of confidence in our game plan and going into Austin this week.
Obviously, as players, you guys probably try to avoid the headlines as much, but all summer, will a little bit of that smack in the mouth be like, hey, we can always play football here in the Big 12 too? Yeah,
for sure. And there's always talk about Texas and OU trying to leave to SEC, and we're just going to show them that we can play with y'all regardless.
And then for y'all, you've been part of those teams, a couple of years ago who it seemed like every close game was going in the other team's favor, and now you guys have been able to close out some games, even at the end of last year too. What's changed?
Just our demeanor as a whole, as a team. I feel like we're playing together compared to our prior seasons, and our offense is obviously gaining confidence. Other guys are getting the ball, and defense is playing very well as well. So,
Eric, what do you feel Saturday's game kind of was not necessarily a statement, but I guess what do you feel it kind of told about your team in terms of what y'all were able to do on Saturday night?
That overall we are a team. Well, it's not just one person able to go out there and win the game. We win together, and we're gonna go into Austin and do the same.
In terms of the Longhorns and their defense, I guess what stands out when you look at them on film?
They play a lot of cover 4, drop back coverage. They want you to. They're going to give you all the small stuff, the short stuff. So, this week is a big week in showing our ability to run after the catch, be able to catch a screen or a hitch and be able to, do something with it.
Last one from me. Just in terms of your strength, I know you've kind of shown it off on a couple of yards after catch. I guess what have you been able to do over the offseason, or what has Coach Scholes kind of helped you with to allow you to get that extra strength to either break a tackle or, kind of make some plays?
Coach Scholes and his staff has done a really good job of, helping us with our speed and our vertical and our strength. And just overall, my game, I worked on just being able to read the field after I catch the ball and being able to make big plays for our team.
Eric, Coach Wells mentioned how this will be the best defensive front that you guys as an offense have seen so far. It's obvious how that affects like the O-line, quarterback, whatnot. But for you as a wide receiver and you guys, tight ends, the wide receivers, the pass catchers, how does that change how you would either go into a game or how, if they're getting pressure on them, how does that change what you would do?
I don't think we should change anything. I feel like we have a lot of confidence going into this game, and we're just going to do us, play our offense. Coach Cumbie has a good game plan for us going into this week, and, I feel like our confidence is at an all-time high, and we're gonna take it and run with it and go into Austin and do what we got to do.
You talked about getting stronger, but also being able to read the field better. How much of your improvement this year do you chalk up to the physical aspects of the game, and how much do you chalk up to the mental aspects of the game?
Physical, I feel like, I'm at that age to where I'm in the middle of the pack of, the age group, and I'm not young, and I'm not the oldest, but I'm right in the middle, so it's going to be a little harder for others to take me down per se. And the mental part is, the game has slowed down for me a lot, after the years, and I feel like we have a long season to go, so you're going to see more of that.
Eric, obviously, it's been a talking point for a couple of years, but, rivalry game, do you ever have to have a conversation with some of the younger guys about, I don't know, a Texas-themed celebration that they might want to do when these weeks come around?
We haven't really talked about any celebrations yet, but I feel like a lot of guys are gonna get in the end zone this week. So the celebrations are gonna come out. People are gonna have premeditated celebrations already. So we'll just go with the flow.
Any last questions?
Eric, how much have y'all talked about the missed opportunity last year against Texas?
I feel like that L was one of the biggest L's of the season last year, and Coach Wells brings it up a lot and makes sure that we remember it. How he felt and how we didn't close out that game, and that'll be a big emphasis this week. And making it to the fourth quarter, and if we have a lead and if we don't have a lead, just winning the fourth quarter overall.
Eric, you've got to be one of the first guys on the opposing team scouting reports. Are defenses playing you any differently, and if so, how so?
I feel like after the first two games, I had pretty good games, and so FIU really came in and tried to shut me down personally. And every time I lined up in a slot or so-and-so, they'd call out my number just to make sure they were aware of where I was at. And we were totally aware of that, so, we went away from me, and other guys made plays, and it was very exciting to see that.
How do you keep your head in the game during that one? Obviously, you're going to guys that are open as opposed to you, and you're being double covered and such.
It's a learning experience, and with that, I do whatever I can to help the team win with blocking, or if I have to run off a play or be the decoy or anything like that, I'm willing to do to help this team win.
Played a couple of night games. Last couple of games now, it's 11 a.m. Do you have a preference for when you play?
I do like games earlier. You wake up and you're ready to go instead of sitting around all day waiting for the countdown. So it's gonna be fun.
All right, thank you, Eric.
Appreciate y'all.